Hi, everyone. Welcome to another fabulous episode of Deliberately Intentional with me, Remy Fagbon. Today, we have my favorite person in the entire world, Mr. Adebayo Fagbon. Whenever I can bring my husband into the studio is a good day for me because he's super busy. And, getting on his calendar is, even as his wife, is a major ordeal. But I appreciate any time that he gives to me. And I love him dearly because this is truly not his thing. As much as it seems like I am able to get him here often enough, it's not what he likes to do.
Well, for the record, my calendar is not that bad. You just have to get into it.
And getting into it is the hard part.
I love you, darling.
And I love you too. Today, we're going to talk about marriage as a company.
I like that.
We have a therapist, and our therapist says, and he's told us a while ago, and he says, you need to look at your marriage as a company and treat it as one. That means that both you and your partner are co-CEOs. He is. You want to talk about your role in in the family, sir?
I play the role of the chief financial officer, and you play
Chief planning officer.
and also chief
Officer.
strategy officer.
Okay. When we talk, it's not that I didn't have, and these roles in the relationship and in a company are also constantly changing, right? Sometimes the CEO ends up having to do the job of the CFO, or sometimes the job of the COO, or sometimes the job of the marketing officer. Literally everybody wears different hats, right? That's kind of the same thing in relationships. There was a time when I was the chief financial officer, correct?
Yep,
And there was a time that you were the chief planning officer.
correct.
And literally, in the course of 24 years, of course, we've gone through so many different phases. Currently, he's a CFO. I like him as CFO, actually. I let him just give me money. Do you want to talk CFO?
It's a relationship, as my wife said, it's all about being co-partners in the relationship and having a plan for the relationship, both short-term and long-term. But one thing that we do very well in our relationship is that we don't so much challenge each other in who has what role and what they need to do, but we kind of like provide input into what the chief planning officer is doing and vice versa. I don't want to use the term maker checker because a lot of people won't understand what that means, but she checks me at each given time, either before I go to work and when I come back. We could talk into what that means in a bit, but in a very long, in short, you both need to have a balanced way of one, giving opinion into what the other person is doing, not attacking the person that they're not doing wrong. We've been there before, so I could clearly tell you that that's not the right way to go. But being in this co-partner, I really love it. It has enhanced our relationship greatly, and I just love the space where we are.
I do too. One thing I will say is that because a lot of people seeing us now, we were talking about this earlier, you do not know what we have been through. And without understanding what we've been through, at one point in time, it was a tug of war. And a lot of people are either currently going through that or think that that's the way it should be when it actually should be seamless. And it takes time for you to understand that that seamlessness has to happen. But the same way you would start a company and you know that there are building blocks that have to be put in place in order for it to grow into this multi-million-dollar industry that you want it to be, The same thing applies in your relationship and in your marriage, whereby you have to build the foundation first. Like, how are we going to deal when we have conflict? How do we deal if I lose my job and you lose your job? Or if I'm the one that's going to be home, then how many years am I going to be home? You kind of have, and do understand that you need to keep reminding each other, like, hey, don't forget this, don't forget that. And so when in our early days, it was a struggle because I would say something and I also didn't have the right tone or the right approach. And then he also wasn't listening. So it was just war. You want to speak on?
Very well said, my love. Relationship, it's can be a difficult thing at the beginning, or because, and I say that because two individuals with two different backgrounds that have done things differently coming together and trying to have one unilateral way of running their business, there's going to be conflict. Just like there will be a conflict when you join, when you're putting a new team together for a business, they're gonna have different personalities. So we did as well.
Absolutely.
That storming phase is not the end of
The world.
the plan for the business, or neither should it stop the business from moving forward. It's actually an opportunity to learn. And that's what we have done, because during our storming phase, we have gone to seek help. We have gone to look for the tools and techniques we need to talk to each other, because we're very, very different personality,
Both of us are very stubborn.
very stubborn. I was trying to, you know,
I think stubborn is a good thing.
it's very,
It can be a good
we're
thing.
very stubborn, but we are intentionally stubborn, as my wife puts it, because all of those things we've been through has actually helped us to get to where we are. Without setbacks, there won't be opportunity.
Absolutely.
And with this opportunity comes growth.
Hmm.
And also comes we understanding each other
Better.
better. We have our own structure whereby we start our day talking about our business, because it's our business,
Our business being our family.
our family. My wife is so much into what I do, and I'm in so much in what she does, and we brainstorm together into looking for ways to improve it, and also to ways for us to give constructive feedback. And it's the reason why I said I love where we are. Back to you.
Absolutely. One of the things that I also wanted to make mention
Johnny.
in our journey is that where we were coming from, we didn't see that. I know we talk about it a lot, but because we didn't see this unification of people having differing opinions, my husband is he's very different from me, where he has lived a much more, what should we call your life?
Full of life.
He's lived a much fuller life.
Accomplished life.
He's been more accomplished. It was richer, much richer than mine. And we will say that you were a little spoiled.
All right, I agree. I'm comfortable with that word now because I was. And I say that I'm comfortable with it because I didn't see the way I am as an issue. And I didn't think that there's anything that needs to improve about it.
Yeah.
But looking in hindsight, I know that, geez, I did a lot of things that were very self-centered and very bratty, so to speak. So I own it now. I've learned from it, and I'm a better person today.
I actually want to take you up on that. Owning something, because this is something that a lot of people struggle with. Owning and admitting that you have a flaw. Do you think that you telling me or acknowledging that you have a flaw, do you think I respect you less for it?
Now, no. It makes
Before.
me stronger. Before, yes. And that's based on how we men perceive things and how we've been raised. If a man cries, it shows we've been told that that's sign of weakness.
But is it
And
though?
but it isn't. I'm very comfortable crying. If I miss my child, I cry. If I miss my wife, I cry. I'm not afraid to. I'm not, embarrassed to say I do cry because
We watch movies now and you
and I
cry.
cry because being vulnerable is actually a strength.
Absolutely.
I love being vulnerable. And I didn't get to this place until my wife found me a therapist to kind of like help me.
Wait, now I was your first therapist. I was therapizing you before you got a proper therapist.
That is true talk. But having
Proper
having a
therapist.
proper therapist speaks differently from what my wife
Has been saying.
has been saying to me. Also let me see things clearer. Not that she's not smart, trust me. I won't be with her if she isn't. She's the smartest person on the planet, and it's because of her that I am what I am, because she's just very good at challenging me. But going back to going back to the point we're trying to make, a man crying or being vulnerable is not the end of the world. We need to know that there are a lot of things that makes us stronger. Having a partner that you could pour your heart to, and it's not going to judge you, but it's going to give you the tools, the guidance to become better, or therapist, wherever those person is, just find it. But for me, my wife is my sounding board, because I could, if something is not clear, if something is not clear to me, I want a sounding board. I want someone's opinion. I'll tell her this is how I'm feeling. Another thing I found that I've learned in therapy is I never used to tell people how I feel.
Yeah.
I only tell people how I think, but I don't show my feeling. You will never know what I'm feeling. I just close it up. But today, I'll tell you what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking.
Wow, we've grown.
So at least you know what my actions are going to be. So before, I never used to tell people what I'm thinking, and things would just get to the state where I cannot take it anymore, and it would just
Blow
explode. And but I've learned through that, and I now have good tools to communicate, to tell people what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling, and also giving people grace, right? Giving people grace. I never used to give. I never used to give people grace before. I'm like, they should know. They're smart, right? They went through school. No, because you're an adult doesn't mean you know everything. We're all wired differently. We're all created differently. We're all gifted differently.
Absolutely.
We're all unique in our own different way. What Charles knows, I do not know. What I know, Charles does not know. What my wife knows is different from. But together, when you seek help from different people, your life becomes fuller.
Absolutely. And that is the beautiful thing about relationships that people do not see. When people see the intimate side, it's because you're connecting on a different level that the other side comes out even more. You want to be more intimate with the person that you feel like you have shown everything to. That's really important. And we did not see that a lot when we were growing up. I don't think I saw my parents have vulnerable moments. I don't know whether you did.
No, my mom cries, but
But she only cried to you.
but when she's in pain, and that made me not. I mean, that's another
Another topic.
another
entirely.
topic, but in a very nutshell, it made me not open up as well, because that's what I saw growing up. But because we all, believe it or not,
A product of our
of
upbringing.
our past, right? But one thing I would say is that our past does not determine who we are. They are missteps for sure. We shouldn't wallow in our past, because the past gives us an opportunity to know and to evolve into the future. right? The past is just, it is the past.
But I think that what I would say about the past is that it gives you it gives you, like, we are supposed to learn from history.
100%.
And
But don't stay in it.
don't stay in it. Absolutely. So even if you've made a mistake, because I think the question I was asking you earlier was that, do you feel that your mistakes define who you are?
No.
I don't either. And
No.
I feel like my parents' mistakes and even my own personal mistakes are things that I can learn from. The key is that most of us are not learning from our mistakes. So the mistakes that we've had, I don't judge him for the things that have happened in the past. A lot of people find forgiveness very hard to do, for example. I think that because I've come to understand him and his upbringing and how he was, I get the logic behind him doing certain things. That's a very different thing from me saying that, well, I wouldn't do it. Well, my upbringing was completely different. So with my upbringing, it might seem foreign. For his upbringing, it might have seemed normal. But it doesn't mean that that can't change. And you have to give, and that's where we go back to grace. I've always given grace to him. So because I've given grace to him, he has in turn given grace back to me. See, but if I had not given him grace in the beginning, I wouldn't have been able to receive any either. Now, you can use that and talk about anything from our separation to moments whereby he did not understand me. Those things, everything that happened before, we can talk about it very clearly with each other because we've healed from it. And we can share that with you guys because, again, we've healed. But if we had not learned, healed, and then had these uncomfortable conversations, we would end up making the same mistakes over and over again. And that's what's really hard for many people to understand.
Agreed. We were saying just before we walked into this building, we are where we are today, which is very beautiful, by the way, which I won't trade for the world.
Me either.
Because of our mistakes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, was it painful? Yeah, but it made us to become folks that have raised a beautiful child, that are very happy with each other, that love each other, that looks forward to the future.
Absolutely.
We look forward to each day as if that day is never even going to kind of like, never come end. Right?
And then we got the rest to look forward to.
But there's so much that because of our past that it's giving us a blueprint for our future that's going to be even better from where we are today. Okay. And we're very, very excited about it.
Excited. I would say that we're excited and grateful. I think I'm excited and grateful because I look at where we are. We're both in our 50s now, and neither one of our parents were together in their 50s. So when you look at it like that, we've broken the generational curse of,
believe it or not. Yes,
we have. Because and not only are we together, but we're actually happy. I couldn't say that. And that's, I don't know, it might seem minor, but it is major because you've done something your parents were not able to do. My mom wasn't alive. My parents were not happy, even if my dad was by himself, but I do not believe that he was happy, not with anyone that he was with. Your dad and your mom at 50 or 55 were not together. So when you sit back and you look at that alone, and when my son looks at us and he has conversations with us and he's looking forward to relationships, we've done something that our parents weren't able to do.
The baseline that we have set for our son is a solid one. And it can only get, for him, the future is only, it's going to be much better than what we have.
Absolutely.
Because we have to create our own, not that we know, like I said, we are happy the way we discovered ourselves and for us to get to where we are. But, and we wouldn't have done it any other way. But the fact that we are leaving our son with a good template to walk and follow makes us fulfill as parents.
And going back to us being a company, what that looks like is just like any other company, even though this is a relationship, there are going to be errors. There are going to be mistakes. There are going to be things that you thought would happen and work out a certain way, or you have an idea of what you think your company is going to look like, and it might be different from what this co-CEO, the other co-partner thinks it might look like. When you think about that, it is something that's going to evolve over time. And if you're beginning to have these conversations, one of the things that you can look forward to doing in order to make it come together is to try to have weekly meetings. The Fagbone status update. I think we were calling it
State of the Union.
State of the Union is what we
do
call
it
it.
every weekly, but we also have this check-in every morning.
We have a check-in every
In
morning.
the morning and in the night. The nighttime is very loose, but in the morning we have this check-in. What are we doing for the day? What's the goal? We look at the objectives, okay, and we check all of the tasks within the that we have for the day, and we talk about it when we get back in. Did you complete it? Where did they fall short of? These are the areas you need to improve on, and we'll move on. But that's one aspect. There also have to be the personal side, like, okay, my wife, the chief planning officer, you need your yearly checkup. She also makes sure that I have all my vitamins wherever I need to stay healthy. So there's also that part too. But the list goes on and on. Because she's the planning officer, I'll let give you more details about what it takes to be in this type of state of mind.
One thing I will say about everybody having different roles is what he needs is very different from what I need. We were talking about that before.
Yes.
I don't need reminders on medicine, reminders on making callbacks, but he does. And that's because he just was never used to doing that from the beginning. I'm saying this specifically because there are so many people out there like, he doesn't do for me what I need, but do you need that though? And so for me, I always say that what I need for him is to be kept abreast. We were talking about that also earlier. We talk a lot. But we're talking about the fact that what he needs the organization. Luckily for him, he married somebody that is very organized. So because I'm very organized, I don't need the same things from him though.
My wife needs quality time.
I do need quality time, and I like when he gives
and
it to me.
And believe it or not, she don't like bags like that. She just likes quality time with me. Take her somewhere in the sun, and that's it. You won.
There we go.
You won.
It could be a park.
Right.
Maybe you want to say that I'm a cheap date,
and anywhere where she can get vitamin D, she's good.
If we could just take a walk, I'm good, actually. But you see, that's very different from him. He likes money. He was used to money. And so, but he likes to be the one spending the money. That's the other part. And it took me a very long time to understand this. I was coming from a place of, I just wanted my family. So him just being around, I was okay. Mind you, he does not want to be touched. If he does not have money, please leave him. He's in a mood. He's not feeling anything. If I'm saying I'm happy, he's like, what's making you happy? How much do you have in your account? It took him a very, very long time to come to the realization that, you know what, money isn't everything. But do you want to talk about where that came from?
My dad. That's all he gave to me growing up. So that's all I know. And it took me at least being in this relationship to know that money does not make the world go round. It solves some of the problem, but it doesn't buy you love or happiness. If we have to put money in the bank for where we are in terms of happiness, I think we'll be a billionaire.
Absolutely. Then
Right.
It's not based on our bank account.
Right, but we just, like I said, I'm grateful for what we have. It's not an opportunity that I take for granted. Remy has put a lot of work into this thing to get to where we are, and that's because family is important for people see this end product and just think that, oh, she's lucky. I swear to God, there's no one I know that works for as hard as this woman, making sure that our family stays together. She's giving up her career for me, Charles, for us to just be happy, very selfless, very relentless. Even when I've said this marriage is over back in the day, she was like, no, this is just the beginning. I'm like, how do you know? She's like, watch. But I'm grateful for you. I love you. You know I do.
I know.
You know, they're not just words. You know what they mean to you. And I know I make you happy. And I'm just very proud of what you've accomplished. And this is just the beginning.
Absolutely. And I think that when we go, if we're going to leave and try and round this up, is that I want everyone to look at, if you look at your marriage, relationship, whichever one you're in, and if you've decided, if it's a relationship, you've decided that this is your last one and you've decided to go all in, do realize that just because you're on that page and that's where you are, that other person, it might take them time to get to that page with you.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that your idea is wrong. Doesn't mean that they don't love you. Doesn't mean that they are
Weak,
weak.
incompetent.
It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that they're just not there yet. From the beginning, I think my nephew asked me this question today, and he's like, did Uncle realize at the same time that he loved you? I'm like, no, he did not. And that's the truth. I think because I'm very confident, it did not bother me, because I understand that where he was and the life that he was living was very different from mine. And I can be very laser focused when I want to be. So I'm like, okay, this is looking like the kind of person that I can see myself in the future with. It's going to take him a while to see the whole entire vision. But even though he doesn't see it, what I get of him and what he says he's looking for, I think I can do. So you have to be able to balance it out. Is this person asking of you something that you can do? And a lot of us are not answering that question. First, we're not asking it. And then, of course, you're also not answering it.
And you're getting upset.
And you're getting upset that you are not perfect, for that person doesn't see you the same way. You have to be brutally honest with yourself. Can I give this person what they see that they want? And from the beginning, I knew I could give him what he wanted, even the things he didn't even know he wanted.
And that's what dating is for, right? It's for you to fact find. Dating is not just jumping straight away into bed. Yeah, that's we all love that, of course.
We know you do.
But go get some facts. Go learn about the other person. Because if you're going to be in business with someone, you want to know everything about them.
Absolutely.
What role are they going to play in the business, and to what capacity?
What are their strengths?
What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? And what are the things you're going to, assign to that person to do, that if you give it to them, they're going from start to finish, they're going to commit to it and complete it. Key. My wife knows what I could do, and she knows the things that and that's how we play the card in this relationship.
And I'm not trying to put anything in front of him. Don't ask him to cook anything, because he'll burn water.
Fact.
So there's no point in me asking. When people
and
like,
vice versa. My wife hasn't filed taxes since we've been living in this country.
Then don't ask me to.
She has no interest in it.
And I'm not going to.
And
that won't be fight over, though, because you
know,
keep wanting me to do it.
she's self-employed, huh?
And
so the receipts are a lot, slew of receipts.
It doesn't matter.
But
I do not have your long list of things that I do.
But I'm happy doing it for every year, because happy wife, happy life, as they say. But you just have to know what,
find your balance.
Everyone's strengths and weaknesses, and find a balance, like you said. Well said.
Find a balance. It's going to be different for each and every couple. Most people will think that, I don't need to get advice from anyone. In a company, you would go and call a consultant, and you would bring somebody in wherever you see that there are weaknesses. I think that the problem is sometimes we're getting the advice from the wrong people. Seek out the right people to get advice from. Not everybody coming to you saying that they can give you advice and can actually do it. Are these people able to tell you their flaws? I always say, can they tell you their flaws? Can they tell you their mistakes? Can they tell you what they worked on? Can they tell you how they did it? I can tell you how we did it. And I can share my flaws, because if you want to judge me for my flaws, I don't judge myself, so you judging yourself. You just basically show me the kind of person you are. But like it or not, we can help you if you're willing to listen. But even if you don't reach out to us, you can also reach out to people around you. Think about the people you're asking for advice from. it is super, super important.
Make sure they have the right tools, and they have the right foundation. Don't go and ask advice, marriage advice from someone that's single, right? That's
The worst thing you could do.
that doesn't make sense, right? Look at their track record, and
Read in between the lines. Ask the right questions. All of these are key, but it's not asking for advice is not an option, because sometimes when you're knocking your head against these issues, it may make you feel as if there is no hope because you've tried it one way. Having another set of eyes is always a good thing. It just has to be the right set of eyes.
absolutely.
My co-CEO and I are saying thank you again for joining us on another fabulous episode of Deliberately Intentional. I hope that you can set your company in order and that it is yielding you interest as mine is. Thank you, my love, for joining me in the studio.
Of course.
Thank you, Mar, for another amazing episode. And thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you again next week. Bye.